Say, when Grandpa was my age,
And Grandpa was my age.
it was 1945.
It was 1945.
He was 3 years old.
He was 3 years old.
And playing with his toys at home.
And playing himself at home.
The number one song was Don't Fence Me In by Bing Crosby. Say, the big movie. Say the big movie.
The big movie
Was The Bells
with the bells.
of St. Mary's.
Mary.
Say, the top TV show
Then the top TV show.
was The Great Flammarion.
And big family.
The top news stories were: the United States was engaged in World War II. VE Day ends the war in Europe. 2 atomic bombs were dropped on Japan. And Japan surrenders on VJ Day. FDR passes away in office. Say this. Say what Daddy says. Put your hands down. Say, Harry S. Truman
Harry S. Truman
was president.
was president.
The United Nations
The United States.
is formed.
Udoi.
Say, a gallon of gas
A gallon of gas.
costs 21 cents. Say, 21 cents.
21 cents.
Unemployment was 1.9%. Now you say this. A stamp
Damn.
costs 3 cents. Show 3 cents. Let me see 3. 3 cents. Say, the Cubs
The Cubs.
had 71 wins
7-1 win.
and 39 losses.
39 losses.
Uh-oh. Say, the number one car
The number one car
was the Beetle.
with the Beetle.
Say, Steve Martin,
Steve Martin.
Tom Selleck,
Actually,
Goldie Hawn,
Duty Han
and Rod Stewart
and the Rock Stewart.
were born.
Born.
Say, happy birthday, Grandpa.
Happy birthday, Grandpa.
Okay, make a big smile. Wave bye-bye.
Bye. Daddy, can we see the fish move now?
When Grandpa was my age, it was 1951. He was 9 years old and moving into 4th grade at Holy Rosary School. The number one song was 60-Minute Man by the Dominoes. Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train was the top movie. The top TV show was I Love Lucy. The top news stories were the 22nd Amendment establishing presidential term limits is ratified. When Grandpa was my age, it was 1951. He was 9 years old and moving into 4th grade at Holy Rosary School. The number one song was 60-Minute Man by the Dominoes. Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train was the top movie. The top TV show was I Love Lucy. The top news stories were the 22nd Amendment establishing presidential term limits is ratified. The president fires General Douglas MacArthur from his position as commander, United Nations forces. Tremendous flooding grips the Midwest. A gallon of gas cost 20 cents. Unemployment was 3.3%. A stamp cost 3 cents. The Cubs' record was 56 wins and 61 losses. The president was Harry S. Truman. The number one selling car was the Hudson Hornet. Michael Keaton, Robin Williams, and Kirstie Alley were born. Happy birthday, Grandpa.
When Grandpa was my age, it was 1954. He was almost 12 years old and getting ready for 7th grade at Holy Rosary School. The number one song was Shake, Rattle, and Roll by Bill Haley and the Comets. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was the big movie that year. The top TV show was Father Knows Best. The top news stories were the national holiday, Armistice Day, was changed to Veterans Day. Brown versus the Board of Education eliminated segregation in public schools. The phrase "under God" was added to the Pledge of Allegiance. A gallon of gas cost 21 cents. Unemployment was 6%. A stamp cost 3 cents. The Cubs' record were 56 wins and 61 losses. The president was Dwight D. Eisenhower. The number one selling car was the Chevrolet 150. Denzel Washington, John Travolta, and Jackie Chan were born.
When Grandpa was my age, it was 1958. He was 16 years old and starting 11th grade at North Chicago High School. The number one song was Poor Little Fool by Ricky Nelson, and the top movie was Vertigo. The top TV show was Gunsmoke. The top news story: the fire at Our Lady of Angels School in Chicago. A gallon of gas cost 25 cents. Elvis Presley joined the army. The company Wham-O introduces the hula hoop. Alaska became the 49th state. Intel developed the first microchip. The Cubs' record was 55 wins and 63 losses. The president was Dwight D. Eisenhower. The number one selling car was the Chevrolet Impala. And Madonna was born.
When Grandpa was my age, it was 1962, and he was 20 years old and working for the Navy Electrical Supply Office. The number one song was I Can't Stop Loving You by Ray Charles, and the top movie was The Interns. The top TV show was The Flintstones, and the top news stories were Marilyn Monroe passed away. The first class postage stamp is now 4 cents. Unemployment rate is now 6.5%. The Rolling Stones were formed. The Cubs' record was 55 wins and 63 losses. Our president was John F. Kennedy. The number one selling car was the Oldsmobile Cutlass. Controversial baseball star Roger Clemens was born this year.